being organized. It's time to rethink everything you know about becoming an organized person. Have you ever felt overwhelmed, overstimulated, or mentally overloaded trying to get organized? You're not alone. Most people think routines are the secret to organization, but here's the real secret. It's all about systems. As a neuropsychologist specializing in productivity, I've helped countless individuals transform their lives by creating effective systems. In fact, I've even developed a course dedicated to this. Think of routines as the habits that shape your day. They're what you want to do. But systems, they're the behind-the-scenes mechanics that make everything run smoothly, effortlessly, and efficiently. In this video, I'm going to reveal my top 15 life-changing systems that have completely transformed my organizational skills. To start, let me show you how to create systems that will take you away from the stress from your never-ending to-do list. Imagine feeling like you're constantly juggling a million tasks, unsure of what to tackle first. It's overwhelming, right? Having systems to manage your to-do list is like having a personal assistant. It takes you from overwhelm to peace of mind by managing, organizing, and prioritizing all your tasks without stressing you out. Here are some of the task management systems I love and teach to my clients and systemize your goals that can help you feel like you have more peace of mind and really be more productive. The first task management system I use is to capture everything. I use my Notion Second Brain, but you can use whatever that you like. It's just important that you have a master to-do list or running to-do list, as well as a list of ongoing projects. Really, the key is to have a centralized place for all your tasks and projects. And I have a Second Brain Notion template. If you want help with this, I also have a Notion Second Brain binder PDF template if you are more of a paper girly or you want to transform it into a different system like Asana or Trello. But if you need help with a capture system that actually works, be sure to check those out. The second time management system I use is a weekly review. This is where I organize and prioritize everything that I captured. So you're gonna take time each week to organize and prioritize the tasks that you put on the running to-do list. This really is a crucial system to maintain your task management system overall, and it helps you focus on what's most important. I do my weekly review each Friday, and I have a free Getting Things Done weekly review checklist, which comes in a Notion template or a PDF that you can grab in the description below if you want to know my exact weekly review process. But this is a crucial part of the system, is just making sure you're reviewing everything you're capturing throughout the week. Another system that I use in my management of tasks in the day-to-day is the 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, I do it immediately. It's a simple rule, but it keeps those small tasks from really piling up. This system actually I find particularly helpful when I'm doing my weekly review to make sure I'm not really cluttering my task list with one-off items that can be easily eliminated while I'm doing my weekly review. The fourth system that I use that helps me manage my tasks are taking notes in action. So when I'm reading or learning, I don't just take notes categorized by topic like book notes, like saving them in a book notes folder, but instead I capture these notes and ideas where I'm actually going to use them, such as adding content education in the templates that I use, or taking notes and actually turning them to tasks or to-do items that I can add to my task list so they just don't go off into some folder that I'll never look at again. But here's the thing, actually, these task systems are just one piece of the puzzle when it comes to organizing your life. Next, I'll show you how to create systems that give you more time back in your day. During college and the beginning years of grad school, I was chronically busy and actually really hustling backwards. I was living in LA, I was working multiple jobs, I was constantly anxious because I was constantly trying to find the time to do all the things. My time management system, if you can even really call it that, was push through and manic hustling. And it wasn't until I had one too many burnout episodes that I made the conscious decision that I needed to create a sustainable hustle or I was never really gonna accomplish my goals. I actually remember the exact moment that I decided I'd had enough. I was crying in my closet, which is my favorite place to have an ugly cry. And I thought to myself, I cannot keep burning myself out like this. The problem was, even though I had big picture goals and a vague plan, my fly by the seat kind of pants strategy just wasn't cutting it anymore. That was really the beginning of my deep dive into achievement psychology and all things about how to create a sustainable hustle. Like, you can go back to my blog like a decade ago and see that's where I started vlogging about all these things. And as I began to build time management systems to support my hustle, I realized that the best systems to manage my time help me be more intentional and prioritize what matters most, not just be busy for busy's sake. So now let's break down how you can implement some of my favorite time management systems to regain control over your time. So here are the time management systems that will change your life. The first system is to plan each segment you're moving into using reverse goal setting. So I had talked about reverse goal setting a lot on this channel, but the essential idea is you're gonna have your yearly becoming rituals. That's where you check in with your sun goals and your moon goals. So those sun goals are those 5 to 10 year goals that you have. Check in with those, and you'll also set your midterm goals. So that's what the book, The 12-Week Year, calls them. I call them moon goals. Those are your 1 to 3 year goals based on your sun goals. Those moon goals are gonna move you closer to your sun goals, right? And then you also are gonna do things like quarterly and monthly planning to make sure that you're on track with those moon goals. So your quarterly, your 12-week year goals are just gonna help you move closer to those things. And then you're also gonna have your weekly and daily time blocking so that you can actually be sure that you're staying on track with your quarterly goals. You're doing things in reverse. You're deciding intentionally where you wanna be, what you want your life to look like, and then you're working backwards to make sure that you get there. And when it comes to the daily time blocking, I use my 3-7 time blocking method, which I have an entire video about. I teach it extensively and systemize your goals. And this is going to help you make sure that you have the balance. It has the containers. I compare it to like organizing a home. Everything has its space so that you have the energy conservation. You can have boundaries around work and home life, and it can keep your system going. And this entire reverse goal setting process is made super easy in my Mod Ambition Goal Planner, which comes with your goal planner at the beginning and then is followed by quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily planning pages to keep you on track. And of course, if you have a planner that has all those pages as well, you can just do it there as well. The sixth system that I have for you, particularly help you with managing your time, is batching. You want to group similar tasks to maximize efficiency. I'll put up on the screen the example of my batch days that I use. So each day, and if you use my 3-7 method, you know I have an AM work routine and a PM work routine. Both of those routines have batch work that I assign to them. And that helps you, because you're in a flow, save time because you're batching like items together. And again, everything has its place, so you know things aren't gonna fall between the cracks. Another thing that's gonna help you manage your time and keep all of this going and together are your weekly non-negotiables. I actually set these weekly routines as recurring meetings in my digital calendar. That way, when I'm planning my week, there's always a container, a placeholder for these things, because I don't want to lose sight that I want to make sure that I'm getting these done every single week. So then you can just pull them when you're planning your week in your paper planner from your digital calendar when you're referencing that. And those are things like your meal planning, your meal prep, my weekly home blessing, my weekly zone cleaning, my weekly planning, all those things that are non-negotiables for me. Having them as recurring meetings and things that are part of my weekly routine helps me save time because I don't even have to think about it. It's kind of just on autopilot as a system. Another system that helps me when it comes to manage my time is all about making sure that I'm carving out time for my spiritual time and my personal development. And one thing, or the system that really helps me with that, is having guided spiritual time. So in my early morning routine, I use devotionals and guided journals. I also use the insight timer, which helps me meditate directly after doing my devotional. So I used to do a lot of this just kind of willy-nilly on my own, but having a system for it, like working through a devotional, working through a journal, using an app that helps me with my meditation, that kind of system of having guided spiritual time really helps me make sure that I'm carving out space for that, and I can just kind of sit down and go, whereas kind of just each morning trying to figure out what I wanted to do wasn't a system that really worked for me as far as being consistent with my spiritual time. Number 9 is the 1% rule, which I use with my rinse and repeat template. So in my Systemize Your Goals, I teach my students that you should have rinse and repeat templates, things that you do over and over again that are put into like checklists, templates, signatures that you can do and use each time you sit down to do things that you have to do over and over again. And when it comes to the 1% tweak rule, what I do is each week I improve or streamline a process just by 1%, just by a little bit. And over time, these micro improvements, let's say to a template or to something that you're using over and over, they really compound significantly. So each time that you go in there and use them, they're getting a little bit better. They flow a little bit easier. You can get into the work a little more smoothly. And just using this 1% rule helps you make these systems more efficient over time. And that's because it encourages incremental growth without overwhelming you by building this habit of continuous optimization. Okay, next, I'm going to show you how to create systems that will support you in achieving your biggest goals. When I first became a new mom, my home felt like a whirlwind. Dinner was a last minute dash, the sink overflowed with dishes, and I slipped back into my push through mode from grad school. One night, my husband gently reminded me that while my ambitions were sky high, my family needed me too. That actually kind of stung because deep down, I knew I was letting everything else slide in the name of my work and my goals. And the worst part, I wasn't even showing up as my best, most energetic self when I was actually trying to work and do these things to achieve my goals. That was my wake-up call. I realized I needed a home system that really could be the foundation for everything else. I started by learning from other successful working moms, taking nuggets of wisdom from people like the Fly Lady Cat, Chelsea Joe, the Lazy Genius, Maddie James, and many other working women that were putting information out there on how to balance it all. Slowly but surely, I crafted home systems of my own that prioritized what really mattered most, my family and myself. Now, my home isn't just an afterthought. It's the backbone of what supports my dreams and transform how I show up for my family and for my goals. So here's how to create your own home systems to support your wildest dreams. The first one is a launchpad system. This is where you're going to streamline your mornings and your evenings by having a place where your family can really launch for the day. So for ours, it includes a little bench where my kids can put their hats and their gloves and also sit to put their shoes on. It's right next to our shoe rack where we store all of our shoes so they're not everywhere. And right next to that, adjacent, is where we hang all of our coats that we're wearing in the moment or in that season. So if it's spring, it's like sweaters. It's winter, we'll have our big coats there and we just kind of rotate. So this kind of wall is our launch pad. Even if you don't have an entire wall, just creating like a space, if you have like a small corner or something that you can use, or basket, so that everything is in a place, and when it's time to go, you guys can launch successfully. Especially me, I have toddlers in the morning, getting everybody out of the house. It can get hectic, so anything that can make that easier in the mornings when you're starting your day is a nice system to have. The next one is my cleaning system, and it revolves around a lot of daily triggers that help me be more consistent. So I have the daily triggers of opening and closing my home, largely revolves around the kitchen, and that's just when I wake up and before I go to bed, I make sure that I open my kitchen by unloading the dishwasher, resetting everything, and before we go to bed, I like to have a clean and tidy kitchen and living room, and that usually flows into other parts of the house. Also have clutter checks, so when leaving a room, I like to look at all the flat surfaces and put away anything that is leaving or cluttering. My triggers for this in my system are usually when my kids leave. So when they go to school, I have a clutter check to kind of reset after the little gremlins are gone. On the weekends is after lunch because that's when they go down for their nap. So as soon as they're gone down for their nap, I do a clutter check. And then when they're gone to bed, I do another clutter check. So if you have kids, if you know, you know. We also have a rule in this system: don't put it down, put it away. So when I'm cooking, I try to clean as I go. Throughout the day, I don't put dishes down. I put them immediately in the dishwasher because, again, I'm unloading it in the morning. I have my monthly cleaning service that comes and helps us, so that's kind of just automatically scheduled out. But I also have weekly home blessing. I usually do when my kids go to gymnastics. So I do about 60 minutes, 6 different tasks like vacuuming, mopping. Well, I don't really mop usually unless the kitchen is really dirty. Take out the little mini trashes, dusting, that kind of stuff. And then I I also do 1 hour of zone decluttering or zone cleaning. Usually the idea is once you have everything decluttered, you can move into deep cleaning. I'm still kind of always decluttering, but I also have that monthly cleaning service that comes and helps me once a month as part of this system, so I don't have to always worry about deep cleaning. For instance, last time they came, I asked them could they help me with us cleaning the oven, which was a nightmare, and I think they added on like $20 or $30, and they helped us with that, and that is definitely worth the time and money I would have spent, because I would have bought all these products I have no idea how to clean an oven, to be honest, as dirty as it was. So that is my system. It's really built on a lot of triggers and putting things on autopilot so that I don't have to really think about it. It's just part of my routine and part of my life. Next is my meal system. So the way that we make this work is a combination of routines and tools. The routines are on Friday or Saturday morning is when I do my meal planning. It's usually Saturday morning because that's when my husband does the grocery order for us. So I go in and use the tool of my meal planner that we have on our refrigerator, which I've showed before on this channel, plan out the meals for the week, and then he orders all the ingredients that we need. I put everything on a list that we share digitally in the notes app of things that we're missing, and then we just repeat what we're continuing for that week. So that makes it pretty easy. And then I do my meal prep on Sundays, usually when my kids take a nap. So that's kind of my system for that. Essentially, it's just a combination of non-negotiables that are on my calendar and just executing them each week using the tools like my meal planning large magnet to make it easier. And so it really can be summarized as plan, order, prep. So I plan, we do the order, and then I do the prep on Sundays. And I usually use recipes in Notion that I kind of switch out monthly. The first of the month is like my trigger where I will look for any recipes and replace anything that we're like getting tired of. And I keep all my recipes that I use that my family likes in my Notion Second Brain under our resources. So in my Notion Second Brain template, you can click a resource as a favorite and it will show up on your homepage. So my recipes show up on my homepage so I can easily access them. And then I add or rotate a new recipe each month at that trigger of a new month. The next system is a shared family calendar. So we do have a calendar on the fridge that I just kind of update of all the events, but to make things more, it's 2025 efficient, we also have a shared family calendar. So we have a family email, and both me and my husband have that email account on our phones. I also have it on my computer. That way it syncs into the calendar that each of us use. I use iCal and pull it up that way. He uses Gmail. It's a Google account, so it pulls up on both. And that way when we need to add a doctor's appointment for a kiddo, or when my husband's going out of town, we can add it to the family calendar. And this system really helps us make sure that everything is not on mom to remember, and that we both can be kind of on top of things and make sure we're aware of what the other person is doing. He's never having to be like, oh, let me check with my wife. We all know what we're doing. It's all on the family shared calendar. The next system is our learning system for our kids. My mom always raised me to say, well, you don't put everything on the school system to teach your kids. You always want to be teaching your kids at home as well. And I have really taken that with my own family. So our learning system is tied to the opening and closing of the day. In the evening, it's tied to the kids' bedtime routine. They use their little routine boards, and part of that routine is their academics, is what we call it. So each kid has a learning bag in their room. My daughter's has like sight words, and she's learning blending of words, so blending sounds together because she already knows her letter sounds, and writing, so practicing writing her name. She's in pre-K. She's writing her name. She knows how to spell a lot of stuff, so whatever she wants to write that day, we'll practice it on the board. My son has similar bag in his room with stuff that he's working on, largely his numbers and letter sounds. So we do that at the end of the day with their letter bag. In the morning, because we don't really do official screen time, what we allow them to do is while I'm doing my daughter's hair, they watch a phonics video. Right now we're watching videos for my son because he's still learning his letter sounds, which they like. I put on like a boring one that really is just about the letter sounds, and then they'll watch like a more fun one while I'm doing my daughter's hair, and that's triggered by our morning routine. So that's really the system. The routines are a part of it, the triggers, and then the tools are just the learning bags that are really helpful, which they love, and getting to write in the whiteboard, and then in the morning a little fun screen time, which is my way to sneak it in there. And then next I have a few miscellaneous systems that I want to throw in here before moving to the next one. Are our family systems that we have. They are our routine boards that I just mentioned. So they have a morning routine board and a bedtime routine board that helps my kids stay on track with their morning and evening routines. We do have our kids' art and school papers. I keep those in a aesthetic storage box in our living room so that I can keep up with all their papers sleepers. We do also have family rules and family meetings that help us stay on track with our family goals. Before we move on from the home systems, I do want to let you guys know I have a free live workshop coming up called Spring Clean Your Life. Well, I will be going more into my management systems. I will also be giving away a new Notion template that I'm going to be setting as a product. During the live, I'll be giving away for free to anyone that signs up for the live. It's my home management Notion template, which I think is going to help you out a lot, especially if you use the systems that I'm recommending. So be sure to sign up for Spring Clean Your Life workshop in the link below. And also, just quickly, if you want to know how I use all my systems together, I do have a course called Systemize Your Goals that I will link below too if you want to consider that, if you want more help with implementing systems in your life to reach your goals. You now know how to create systems to organize your life, but if you don't have the right tools to implement these systems, it's going to all fall apart. So I want you to watch this video next, and I'll show you how I organize my life and work and everything else in Notion. Cheers to planning, manifesting, and enjoying your dream life. Namaste.